Aren't you happy that you're struggling like a dog just to make basic ends meet while the Haktuo girl makes hundreds of thousands of dollars for making one joke? Isn't it strange that the world around us seems to be almost falling apart, but we don't talk about it? No one cares about it. And it seems like everyone is just accepting that things are just gonna get worse. What went wrong with the world? What went wrong with society? Let's talk about it.
See, money doesn't just buy you a better life, better food, better cars, better pussy. It also makes you a better person.
Money, money, money. It's so funny in a rich man's world. So, you see this creature beside me? It's called the boomer. And in your eyes, those little boomers, oh my God, they're these little old people. But what you should see is evil incarnate, greed incarnate, disgusting. You should be angry when you see them. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? They're just old people. They're more than just that. I want to tell you, boomers destroyed your financial future, destroyed your economic future for the rest of your life, and will continue to extract more resources from you than any other generation will to any other generation in human history. Boomers were created in one of the most prosperous times in human history, the post-World War II period, where most of the capital was transferred from the West, from the Europeans, to the Americas. And it was one of the most prosperous times in human history, where your mistress could afford to live in a nice single family home while a boomer working one job, you know? Where if boomers wanted to go to college, they had to work a part-time job during summer to afford their college degree. But you have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get a basic degree from a middling school. Imagine trying to go to Ivy League school, even worse, right? A world where individuals didn't have to compete with foreigners, mass amount of low-skilled workers or high-skilled workers around the world. Reasons why tech guys are getting completely fired is because they have to compete against Indians and Chinese for high-skilled workers because they have a lower cost compared to American workers. But American boomers didn't have to deal with this. Where if someone wanted to work a part-time job, a low-skilled job, they were still paid handsomely because they didn't have to compete against low-skilled workers from Mexico or Venezuela. So the world that the boomers inherited or were made in was ultimately really generous to them. But it gets even better. After the fall of the USSR and the Soviet Union as a whole, boomers inherited the most powerful economic, culturally, and militarily country in human history, where any other power behind it was nowhere near close to the American hegemony at the time. First time in human history, there's been one global superpower, legitimately global superpower. And what did boomers do with that power? Did they invest in flying cars? Did they invest in making your life better? You know what they invested in? Foreign wars, foreign conflicts. That's all they did. They wasted that American energy, that American potential that was made for generations to making young people, hundreds of thousands of young people, have PTSD, be disabled, die in some conflict that didn't benefit the American people as a whole. We went into Libya, into Syria, into multiple different conflicts. For what? For bankers? For other people to make money? For elites to make more money? But harm the American people and destroy their American wealth? But it gets even better than that. What else did they approve? They approved of global trade, globalization. And they allowed China and other foreign entities to strip away good paying manufacturing jobs. And they allowed mass immigration to destroy your labor market. So labor as a whole had less power to compete against capital. But you know why they did this? You know exactly why they did this? For cheap garbage, for cheap shit, for a cheap TV, for a cheap laptop, for cheap electronics. They valued their cheap electronics better than you having a better financial future, then better than you starting a good job and actually getting paid a livable wage. Do you get this? For garbage. And the worst part about this is that they will blame you for their culture demise. Oh, why is America so much worse? Why is our generation so lazy? Why you guys don't have that spirit like we had? You know, that type of go-getter spirit. And that's what I despise about the boomer generation. It's this like disgusting greed and lack of care that they instilled into the future. And it continues to do so. Because here's the reality. They don't care about you and they're going to extract more from you. We finally hit $35 trillion in debt. They're not going to pay for it. We are. Social Security, they refuse to allow Social Security to be reformed, either increase taxes or increase retirement age. But someone's going to have to pay for that. And they don't care. It's going to be you, young people. It's going to be me. I'm gonna have to work. Most of your taxes are gonna be in the future, gonna be paid for, not for making your community better, not for healthcare for you. It's gonna be made for old people. Old people that wasted your future. Well, now we get to the culture that the boomers created. It's a disgusting, awful, awful thing. The reality is, the culture that boomers have is all about individualism. It's all about just making money. It's all about the community being second, and the most important thing in the unit, the whole society, is your personal needs. And that's the same reason why we have dating apps now. We have casual sex that destroys intimacy and normal relationship. The same reason why boomers don't go to church. The same reason you don't go to church. The same reason you don't have a community around you. Boomers as a whole ultimately cared about their own desires and their own needs, from the sexual revolution in the 60s to the increased divorce rates after the 70s, to the reason why you're an atomized human being that somehow has no community or no culture around you. Boomers focused on their own desires and their own needs beyond everything else. The same reason why 90s kids were allowed to simply just go on computers and see decapitated heads of Mexican cartel members randomly, or 5 girls, 1 cup, or 2 girls, 1 cup, or whatever other degenerate aspects, because boomers didn't pay attention to the needs and really take care of an entire generation. They allowed an entire generation to be raised by the internet. They allowed an entire generation to be atomized by the internet, to be over-socialized. The same reason why kids can't even talk to random people outside or say hi or have basic social skills is because boomers decided not to do their job. And the worst part about this is that boomers as a whole will blame you for their decisions, will blame you. Hey, why are you not talking to random people outside? Why don't you have a girlfriend? Why? Why don't you have a job that pays the amount of money I got when I was a young person? Maybe the world around us changed because you changed it. You changed it by making it worse. So now the only choice I have to feel any form of joy, because my receptors in my brain are so fried, I need to look at brain rot videos or gooning videos or whatever degenerate, violent things to give me any sense of joy or connection around me. And I'm here. Now I'm here. I'm depressed. I'm alone. There's nothing around me. I don't know what to do. I don't think anyone knows what to do. And the solution is, like, what you think is this is going to only get better when things just start slowly collapsing around you? Because everyone doesn't care about maintaining this culture. People aren't having kids because they feel like, what? What's the point? What's the point? My life is already terrible. Why would I want to bring people into this type of culture? And that only feeds kind of like this negative feeling, or this aura, or this vibe. The negative vibe. The vibes aren't good, right? Of the society. And if the vibes aren't good, well, my life isn't good either. Well, ultimately, boomers created a culture where the only thing that really matters is money. So you have no purpose, you have no feeling, and that's the reason you want to kill yourself. That's the reason why you're depressed, you're anxious, you have nothing to connect to with other human beings, and that's the reason why higher rates of suicide, anxiety, everything's falling apart. You have no choice, you have no future, you have nothing to live for. What am I living for? For a corporation, for money, for an idea that doesn't matter? For me just to, get another high to keep me, from ending it all?
I have here the most effective cure for all ailments. Rheumatism, rubella, warts, wrinkles, hair that will not cooperate.
So we've established that you live in a disgusting, uncaring world that only cares about profits, and that boomers and your essentially parents and their parents decided to throw away your future for their own selfish desires. And the only natural thing, to do is just to be angry and be jaded about the world, and just be jaded about what happened to you in your life and how it sucks, how I can't get a job, I can't get a house, that I worked like a dog to barely make enough ends meet. And it's only gonna get worse. And the only natural instinct, hey, I hate it, and I'm gonna join communities like Reddit or 4chan, whatever, with people that know the feeling that I feel, and that can, express the same thing, because I need someone to acknowledge what I feel. But then you join those communities, you join that type of culture of just people being angry and being jaded all the time. I'm sorry, that's not gonna make you happy. No one wants to be around angry and jaded people. You're only gonna make yourself miserable. You're only gonna make yourself hate the world more. So now we get to the look maxing community, the gym maxing community. Hey, I need a Mew to get the perfect chin. I need to make sure I have predator eyes and not have prey eyes, or no woman's gonna talk to me, or I need to become bigger so people to respect me. Ultimately, these type of communities are kind of cringe in a lot of ways, right? They don't solve the problem that you really have, right? What's the problem? I have no friends. What's the problem? I'm depressed. What's the problem? I have no sense of community. And they want you to focus on the most vanity, the most material way possible to look at a human being through how attractive they are, their visual looks. Let me tell you this right now. The qualities that you look for in a person, are they how beautiful they are or how good of a friend they are or the type of relationship you can form with those people? And ultimately the problem with this is they just want to distract you from the problem that you have. It doesn't focus on the core issues. And if you don't really believe me, why don't you look at the history and the pattern of behavior where every single person that's like a gym bro or an influencer that cares about look maxing, they end up dead. They end up with, committing suicide. They're depressed, they're anxious. Why? Because if the thing that people value is how you look, that's obviously going to distort how you view yourself. And you're going to do everything humanly possible, from doing drugs to become like a massive steroid head, or Photoshop your images, or do everything. And then you're going to be as fragile as any other human being and not easily break someone. You know what? Why even try? The world sucks. Life is hard. I hate the boomers. So just let me ball up in like a little ball, go to sleep, and ignore all my issues. You hear that? That's my family trying to knock on the door and like, we miss you, we care about you, why aren't you talking to us? We can solve those problems later. Those emails can be answered later. That homework and that project can be done a different day. I don't care. Well, I bet you thought that was the end, right? And I'm just gonna, give you this depressing ass ending, talking about how it is what it is. But I'm actually trying to give you solutions and try to give you a way to actually improve your life. And I'm not going to abandon you like every boomer did and just let you go to the wild, free to the wild, and let the internet take over you and you become this atomized person. In my opinion, these are things you have to do. Go outside. You see this? I'm outside. But it doesn't just mean just go outside and like, oh man, going outside is going to magically, change my life and I'm going to become this, different person. Enjoy nature. Get away from this internet culture that wants to make you feel not like a human being. Secondly, go volunteer. Try to become a decent human being. I don't understand how people constantly complain. Like all this people on the internet, like, oh man, I can't meet any new people. All the women ignore me. Everyone has their focus on their iPhones. Maybe go interact with people that, I don't know, are decent human beings that want to give to other people. And then maybe you meet other people that actually want to care about you or want to spend time around you, that aren't so artificial or so fake. And honestly, make a hobby. Focus on yourself. Just get away from the internet. Get away from this hyper socialized communities that are miserable and hate themselves and are built to make you miserable, and focus more of their time to make them money. Just do something. Do something. Get some bitches. Do something. Anyways, I'm ranting. I'm a little ranting on this, but the reality of your life is you have to do something.